the last episode of the BaldurNBA 2015-2016 NBA preview. A few days late, but the total picture was ready. 28 teams down, only 2 to go. And out of all of these rankings, this is probably the least surprising one. Let's get to it. As the first seed in the East, I have the Cleveland Cavaliers. They finished last season with 53 wins and 29 losses, which may not seem all that impressive, but they started the season at 19-20. That's when they made the trades for Shumpert, Smith and Mozgov. After that point, they had the best record in the league. As we know, the Cavs lost in the NBA Finals last season, which equaled their best performance from 2007. Let's see the moves they made this summer. Players they added were Mo Williams, Jared Cunningham, Richard Jefferson and Sasha Kaun. Players that left were Sean Marion, Kendrick Perkins and Mike Miller. Let's see how the rotation might look like. At center there's Timofey Mozgov, who was a great defensive presence for the Cavs, with his 7'1" frame, and he was better than many people expected. Backing him up will be Anderson Varejao, who tore his Achilles last season. He'll see less minutes with the addition of Mozgov and Love, which should increase his chances of staying healthy, because he has only played more than 31 games in 1 out of the last 5 seasons. Then at power forward there's Kevin Love. He missed most of the playoffs due to a dislocated shoulder. After the first 3 or 4 games this season, he seems to be a lot more comfortable with the Cavs, and he's playing more from the post. All the uncertainty with him staying or leaving the Cavs is now gone, and now he can just focus on playing basketball. Backing him up will be Tristan Thompson, who finally signed with the Cavs. He wanted a 5-year $94 million contract, but settled for a 5-year $82 million contract. It's debatable if he's really worth that contract, but I don't think it will hurt the Cavs much when the cap rises, from around $70 million this year to over $100 million next year. He was really big for them in last year's playoffs when Kevin Love went down. What I like about him is that he's just relentless at getting offensive rebounds. No one seemed to be able to contain him. And he also has the ability to play center for the Cavs, which is a great option because he's a very good pick and roll defender. He got switched onto Steph Curry a few times during the finals and did a good job. People worry about him not getting minutes because of Kevin Love, but he'll get some minutes at center when Mozgov sits. Then at small forward, LeBron James, the guy that really should have been the finals MVP. There wasn't a single player out there that was more valuable to his team. He scored and assisted on an average of 58 of the Cavs' points. That's a finals record by a margin. There was also a ridiculous stat that when LeBron was off the floor, that Shumpert, J.R. Smith and Dellavedova didn't make a single three-pointer, and that the team just simply sucked. Usually the finals MVP should go to the player on the winning team, and rightfully so, but in this case, the gap was just so enormous, and it was so obvious who was the most valuable to his team. Backing LeBron up will be Richard Jefferson and James Jones. At shooting guard should be Iman Shumpert, but he's injured and won't be in the lineup until January. He's a guy that the Cavs really needed, a very good defender and someone who can guard the Currys and Hardens of the league. Backing him up will be J.R. Smith, who I think is in the perfect situation. He's pretty much the 4th option on this team. The lesser the spotlight, the better. Behind him is then Jared Cunningham. At point guard there's Kyrie Irving. He broke his kneecap in the first game of the NBA Finals. The Cavs are in no rush in bringing him back. He could be back in late December, early January. The Cavs got a great backup for him in Mo Williams. He's back in Cleveland and can score and shoot threes for them. A year and a half ago, he had a 52-point game in this league. Backing those two up will be Matthew Dellavedova, who can also see some time at the 2 guard. Many people wonder if the Cavs would have won if Love and Irving would have been healthy. While Tristan Thompson and Dellavedova are better defensively, Irving and Love are simply much better offensive players. And remember, Kyrie Irving had 2 games where he scored 55 and 57 points last season. The Cavs just couldn't score with LeBron on the bench in the finals. We'll never know what the outcome could have been. We'll see if both teams make the finals again healthy. This is a very deep team. They can go big with their starting lineup and they can go small with Thompson at center and even LeBron at power forward. So they can adjust to any team if they need to. They are deep at the wings and at point guard. They could make a trade if they want to sometime during the season. They have a huge trade exception that was created when they traded away Brendan Haywood, worth about $10.5 million, which they can include in the trade, instead of a player to a team that needs salary cap relief, and therefore take on more salary. Only thing at this point that they could need is another good wing defender, because there's not a lot behind James and Shumpert if they get injured or in foul trouble. Other than that, this team doesn't have any holes. One thing that's underrated and special about this team is that they are a top 5 team in 3-pointers made and rebounding, a combination that none of the other teams are. They should be able to continue to jack up threes, and that's really the trend in today's NBA. 4 of the top 5 teams in 3-pointers made all made the conference finals, with the Clippers being the 5th team. The Cavs with Love, Thompson and Varejao should also out-rebound everyone. Those guys are so good at rebounding that they should be killing teams. It's one of the reasons why I think this Cavs team can be better than those Miami teams that LeBron had, because more players can space the floor, unlike Wade who couldn't make threes. The other thing being that the Miami teams were the worst rebounding teams in the league, while the Cavs have a chance to be the best. One thing troubling about this Cavs team is that with Irving and Love, they are average defensively. We'll see if they can improve that. To finish things off, the Cavs are clear favorites in the East. Their main goal in the regular season should be to stay healthy. Other than that, I expect them to be a top 2 seed, more likely a number 1 seed. And I think they are the only team in the East that can win the NBA title. On to the next team.
The champ is here! The champ is here! The champ is here! The champ is here! The champ is here!
As the first seed in the West, I have the NBA champion Golden State Warriors. They finished last season in the first seed in the West with 67 wins and 15 losses. The Warriors have twice won the NBA title, last season and in 1975, led by Rick Barry. Let's see the moves the Warriors made this summer. They drafted Kevin Looney at 30 in the draft. They added Jason Thompson and lost David Lee. Nothing that really stands out, pretty much the same team. David Lee is out primarily to save money. Lee is getting $15.5 million this year, while Thompson is getting $6.4 million. Let's see the team rotation. At center, there's Andrew Bogut, who's had injury problems in the past, but has managed to play 67 games in each of the past 2 seasons. He's then backed up by Festus Ezeli. At power forward, there's Draymond Green, who was really the game changer for the Warriors. He came into the starting lineup for David Lee. Green is a much better defender and has the ability to guard multiple positions, so the Warriors can do a lot of switching on defense. He has even seen time at the center, and usually when he plays there, the Warriors manhandle teams. He's backed up by Maurice Bates and Jason Thompson. At small forward, there's Harrison Barnes. He's then backed up by the Finals MVP Andre Iguodala. He, along with David Lee, had been starting their whole career, but accepted a bench role, which was really the beginning of the rise of the Golden State Warriors last season. At shooting guard, there's Klay Thompson, a solid defender and a great 3-point shooter. He had an NBA record during last season, where he scored 37 points in a quarter. He's then backed up by Brandon Rush and Leandro Barbosa. Then at point guard, there's the league MVP Steph Curry, who actually finished second in the Players MVP voting. He had a great season last year, where he averaged 24 points and 8 assists. He's then backed up by one of the best stories in the NBA, Shaun Livingston, who injured his knee horribly in 2007, and I don't recommend watching it. He basically snapped his leg laterally and injured almost every part of his knee. He tore his ACL, tore his PCL, and tore his lateral meniscus, along with spraining his MCL badly and dislocating his kneecap and his tibiofibular joints. Sorry if that made you uncomfortable, but doctors told him there was a chance that his leg would have been amputated. But thankfully they didn't do that. He needed months of rehabilitation to be able to walk again. He has slowly played more and more games from 2009, and now he's rewarded for an NBA championship with the Warriors. A true feel-good story. You should never give up. The Warriors were the number 1 team in offensive efficiency, defensive efficiency, and pace, so it's safe to say that they dominated last year. It also helps that they were the healthiest team in basketball, and there are some people who are skeptic about their title run. The fact that they never had to face a healthy point guard in the playoffs, where they went against Mike Conley with a broken face, but I don't think it would have made that much of a difference. I still think the Warriors would have won that series. Then they faced the Rockets, who had a couple of 38-year-olds at point guard in Pablo Prigioni and Jason Terry, and the finals where they didn't face Irving and Love. So it's bittersweet that they didn't get a chance to beat them healthy, but a championship is a championship. You need some luck to win, and that's not just for the Warriors. Most teams who win need some luck on their side. The Warriors are deep and have the ability to adapt to any playing style. They can go big and they can go small, a well-oiled machine. To finish things off, we'll have to see if the Warriors can have the same amazing health as they had last year. If they do, they can make a run at 70 wins. That is, if everything goes right for them. I see them as a number 1 seed, and they can definitely repeat. Now, let's see the total standings. Number 1, the Cavs and the Warriors. At 2, the Rockets, who are up to a bad start, and the second in the East, the Raptors. At 3, the Hawks and the Spurs. At 4, the Bulls and the Thunder. At 5, the Wizards and the Clippers. At 6, the Bucks and the Grizzlies. At 7, the Celtics and the Pelicans. At 8, the Heat and the Jazz. At 9, the Pistons and the Kings. At 10, the Pacers and the Suns. At 11, the Hornets and the Mavs. At 12, the Magic and the Blazers. At 13, the Knicks and the Lakers. At 14, the Nets and the Nuggets. And at 15, the Sixers and the Timberwolves. It will be fun to see the rankings at the end of the season, to see what teams I will be totally wrong on, and I'm sure there will be some. You guys should put your rankings in the comments below. A bit unfair because the season has already started, but why not? This is to eliminate all those guys who are so smart afterwards. Now they can put their standings in the comments. You guys can at least put your top 8 in. Will be fun to see at the end of the season. I might do a video on that. We'll see. Other than that, this series has been a ton of work. If you don't believe me, I do a script for every episode with all kinds of information that I want to put in the videos. It's a total of 46 pages. Just this series. This was way more work than I thought when I began this. Not sure if I'll do this next year, but we'll see. Yo, I want to thank you guys for watching the series. Only right that I thank you in front of the camera. It's been a lot of work, but I enjoyed it. And I'm sure a lot of you guys don't agree with the rankings. And that's alright. That's a part of what makes it great to be an NBA fan. I've never been in front of the camera like this before. It's a bit weird. And like always, like, subscribe, and peace.